Hello and welcome. I am your host Elizibar, and this is Dogaroo #1 from copyrighted 1989 Cliff McGillivray. I hope I got your name right. This is kind of wild. This book is out there, man. It's a black and white comic that went to comic book stores, not newsstands. There's no, you see a barcode anywhere on it? No, there's no barcode on it. I'm not really sure who the target audience of this book is. It really feels like a comic that should have been a newspaper strip in the 60s. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way because turns out this book was just kind of dumb fun. We got bad guys. You can tell they're bad guys because they got masks on, see? And they're stealing this like statue of an Indian chief's head out of a museum. Then we got some kids looking at dogs, and they meet the dog of their dreams right there. Okay, with me so far? And they're like, "Oh man, let's adopt the dog of wonder, the dog from down under." So our hero trying to hang out with some other kids. He's trying to, he's doing that kid thing, like, "Hey, can I? Ooh, wow, whack the microphone. Can I play? Can I join your baseball game or whatever?" And the other kid's like, "Heh, heh, heh, heh." So, Dogaroo scares him off. "Thanks, doggy, you're great." "You're not so bad yourself, pup. By the way, the name is Dogaroo." Oh, it's almost like that's on the cover of the book. Amazing. There's a lot I want to show you in this book, so I'm going to try to show you like partial pages of stuff. Dogaroo and the kid hang out. Dogaroo teaches the kid to throw a boomerang, okay? And on the cover, I want you to take a look at this. What's on the cover? A boomerang. Truth in advertising. You also see him jumping here, like a big kangaroo jump on the cover. That shows up in the book. We have truth in advertising on this very silly comic book that seems like one of the strangest products ever printed. I don't see how this comic book was made in 1988. All right, this is where we're going to kind of wrap up talking about it. So, the kid's father is a cop. The cop is looking for the criminals, those bad guys I showed at the beginning, who had the masks on and all that. And he's looking to get the stuff that they stole. They stole the statue. The statue had computer chips inside of it, all right? So it had like little microchips that were supposed to be smuggled out of the country or something like that. They were stolen. Honestly, this is kind of convoluted, isn't it? Now, of course, Dogaroo and the kids, you got a crime, you got a cop father. They are going to go investigate. How many Hanna-Barbera cartoons kind of followed a pattern like this? Several. Including Scooby-Doo, which ran for who knows how many decades. And we're kind of borrowing from that formula with this book. And it works. That formula, the way this is all being handled, it absolutely, actually just straight up worked. This is a really decent kids comic book. It's just completely out of place. $2 for black and white, 20 something. Hold on, let me look. How long is this book? We're right in the middle. That was page 11. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. It's a 21 page comic book, plus some ad material at the end, which includes the Noid, an ad for the Noid comic book in 3D, by the way. If you don't remember the Noid, he was Domino's old mascot. He was a hoot. He had his own video game, dude. And this comic book company seems to like make their living doing 3D comics. I think I got a 3D comic from them for something else. I don't remember what it was. The line art is solid. It's stylized, but it looks good. It looks pleasing to the eye. It's inviting. It's a little bit gentle. The bad guys having to wear masks is like a very old school representation of bad guy robbers. One of the reasons I feel like this book was made in the wrong decade. Like if this had come out in the 60s and, was published, they probably would have sold a lot of books for like 10 cents. And then this probably would have got turned into like a newspaper feature or something. And if it had, it probably would still be syndicated today. It'd be up there. Instead, this came out in the late 80s. And it's like a time warp, man. It takes place in kind of a gentle world where a couple of kids and their dog can run off and go investigate stuff. Like, that doesn't happen, man. Once we got to the 80s, like, that started going away. And by the time you got to the 90s, you know, yeah, okay, maybe the late 90s, like, a kid outside playing on his own was a weird sight. Whereas when I was a kid, like, that was normal. We would just go out and we'd be out until we heard, your like your mom yelling at you, and then you'd go running home because it was dinner time 4 hours later. This book is just a throwback. I enjoyed it. I thought it was actually a surprisingly fun read, but I don't know how or why this existed in 1988. If you see a copy, pick it up because you know what? You know what? We are bringing Dogaroo back. This is going to be the year of Dogaroo. I feel it. I feel it. Dogaroo cannot be denied any longer. No more. No more! Anyway, you all take care of yourselves. You have a great one. And, yeah, if you see this, man, like, flip through it. There's some nice looking stuff in here. Take care. Bye-bye.